Hey everybody, Brandon with Bearded CB82. I know it's been a little bit, but things have been busy at work. Yes, I happen to be inside of some place that happens to have a trailer inside of it. Today is Sunday, the 20th of November. So this is for educational and information purposes because obviously there are some things that need to be said. And this is in my off time, so this is my free time. So I'm going to be providing some free repairs to something that definitely needs it. Q air compressor. For all of you that have missed it. Anyways, so the past couple years, some of you that have seen some other videos, I will go ahead and post links to them up here, as well as down below in the description box on some heinous wiring things that have, not just me, but this shop has come across. This particular unit came from the East Coast where supposedly there's a shop. Several things. I've got some nitpicky stuff like hose and wire management. I could go off on a whole video of that, but this one in particular is for electrical. Now there's a lot of different ways to repair electrical, a lot of improper ways as well. I mean, we've used thousands of butt connectors to appropriately splice where applicable and replaced who knows how many feet of cables, electrical, ABS, ABS lighting, like this one that's just kind of all over the place. And this is how this came into the shop. So there's been a lot of work done in this shop just to repair wiring. And why? Well, I'm gonna get you guys turned around and zoomed in on a couple of particular things and give you, I'm gonna show you some of the stuff that we run into. And some of the stuff isn't pretty. Some of it, I understand, may have been done over the road by a roadside repair company that crimps stuff together, sends things on its way. However, things should still eventually make their way to a shop for any other appropriate inspections and repairs. A lot of that falls on the driver making sure, and so you can, anybody that's been in this business for quite some time, you've seen this or you've seen worse or as bad as, and understand entirely. There are some drivers out there that are absolutely phenomenal that have no problems saying, hey, there might be something up. Hey, I had to get this repaired over there. Maybe a light did go bad. LEDs go bad. Incandescent lights go bad. It's like picking up a nail. It happens. However, at least there are people that do try to inform the appropriate people so that things can get repaired. That doesn't always happen. Because, hey, once Beer 30 rolls around, some people just say the hell with it, and so what? And if anybody's got a problem with me in the corporation providing you free repairs, well, we can discuss that on the sideline on a different note. In case they happen to see this, because this is definite education, things that need to be said and repaired, and the list goes on. Let's start right here. All right, first demonstration is, well, you can see that this wire was cut. And if it shows up, you can see a little bit of green there on the tip. So that wire, which goes to an ABS light, has been cut for some time. Whether that was part of rubbing up against here or outside influence, odd how it would show up right there. You've got a butt connector here that was never heat shrunk to begin with. It looks like they did use the right side of the crimpers, since it is an insulated butt connector, and you use the insulated portion of yours, not those ones, which I've run into I don't know how many corroded butt connectors because people don't know how to use their wire strippers and crimpers properly. this will be first one. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to peel this outer coating back, re-hang everything and re-zip tie everything and get all the wires managed. Looks like I have plenty of wire to spare to where I can actually shorten all of this up and make one, and we'll go over that later. And then here we are yet again. This has been peeled away and another wire wound up cut in the middle of how the heck it got cut right there in between everything else is beyond me, but something peeled that back and cut that wire. Same wire in the same harness. So there's a lot going on there. I might have to do some re-rigging and re-replacing of a lot of stuff on this one. The joys. And then here we are at a tail lamp, which at least things were kind of tied up and out of the way. However, these are pretty new. I mean, like, pretty darn new. So at least the repair was made. But there again, they're not even heat shrinked. And yeah, so this is quite possibly a roadside repair. So I'm going to cut these out, put in new ones. Now, on that note, some people will say solder with appropriate heat shrink is better. And yes, that is best. But actually having these exposed and just heat shrinking them and leaving them, obviously you'll probably want to tie these up a little better, but leaving them open for visual inspection is a good thing, because then you can actually see if there's corrosion inside, or if they go bad, or if something hit it, or if something cut it, or someone. Anyways, leaving these out and about for inspection in the open rather than trying to tuck them up somewhere where somebody can't see them should there be another problem later on, be it the light goes bad, the end of the pigtail gets corroded inside there somehow, or if there winds up being corrosion inside of here. You can find it pretty quick, repair it. Sure, it's a hassle, but if it's done appropriately, it should last a good amount of time. All right, so sorry for the harsh lighting on this one. Anyways, so we've got a corroded connector right there. This was unplugged and left hanging there again, go figure. Some of y'all that have been doing this for a while can probably guess why. For the ABS lamp, this ABS lamp, odds are I'm going to have to replace, but there's multiple reasons why I do not have power going to this. Oh, it's hard underneath here. This trailer sits low and I'm short, so that's even worse. But I'm going to obviously replace this pigtail. Let's see here. Yeah, you can see anyways real close where they used the non-insulating crimper for the insulated crimps on these, and that's just a accident waiting to happen for corrosion anyways. And then another thing, at least this has been reported, the light with this was on a dispatch call. Electrical tape is not your friend. Heat shrink, like some really good industrial dual wall heat shrink, is a good thing. Or, like I said, to just leave them in the open, at least they did with these, rather than waste a bunch of electrical tape to try and keep things weather protected. You're actually better off never using electrical tape in this instance than you are with. Moisture gets in there, gets trapped in there, and then that causes a lot of corrosion, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to find a lot when I rip this apart later on. Gotta wait for I gotta make a new license plate bracket though, and we've got a license plate ordered for this at least. So there's some of the problems you can run into on some trailers, especially due to poor roadside repairs, poor maintenance programs, all the other lack of training or competency, or yeah, there's a lot of other problems that can go into that entire thing. So you have to be cognizant of what you're working with, who you're working with, and there's probably some instances where some people should just not be doing certain repairs in a shop, especially unsupervised. And if they're making those type of repairs unsupervised, they should be supervised. Or maybe you should just get rid of people. Anyways, so you have those problems, you fix them, you move on, get it done right, and hopefully you don't have to worry about it. Now, like I said, some people might have a problem with this video. It needs to be said, it needs to be addressed. And I know I'm not the only one in the company that I work for. Oh wait, I don't work for Caterpillar. But it does need to be addressed. These are DOT inspectable items that could wherein incur fines, penalties, points against the company, points against the driver, and a whole list of other issues down the road. So, gonna make some little repairs and show you how to appropriately, which can be done quite rapidly, fix some of these problems. Okay, so in this repair, we're gonna, because I've got some extra slack to play around with, and everything else seems to be intact in this harness, hopefully. If not, we'll go back to the drawing board later. So we're gonna go ahead, trim that short. Oops, let's get you in focus here. There we go, get you in view. Cut the one side short. Peel things away towards the end. Oh boy, that was dirty. Now I know some people use seam rippers, and I have one in the toolbox that I forgot to grab, but that's all right. Be really careful with a small set of flush cutters. You can get quite a bit done. Now this, which is atrocious, we're going to go ahead and cut these back both even as well. I do not have a semi hooked on here, so I do not have to worry about crossing power or ground. So I've got what appears to be an 18 gauge and a 16 gauge. So both those should go to pink. They're again using the appropriate components to repair. Sometimes you'll have to use a reducer, you know, pink to blue, rather than just the wrong sized. I carry a variety of these for obvious reasons. So we're going to go ahead, knock about just shy of a 1/4 inch off on these ones. I don't have any green. I've got a little bit of dark, but that's not uncommon. Same thing on the other side. Then I'm going to use an appropriate sized butt connector. And then I'm going to use the appropriate insulated section of the crimpers on the pliers, because it needs to be said. Nice little crimp. Take the opposite side, put it in, give it a nice little crimp, firm but not too hard. And the same there again, using the appropriate sized. And I drop my pliers. Ugh. Hopefully this is coming in for y'all, so I can't see the screen. Crimp, nice and firm. And then the same on the other end. In, nice and firm. Give them a little tug test. Nothing's moving. And because this portion of the shop also doubles as a wash bay, and the fact that we are in winter, when you bring these trailers in and they're covered with ice and snow, you are dropping gallons of water onto the floor. And that is a recipe for disaster if you try to use a heat gun on an extension cord. That's just a major safety hazard. So a lot of the times what we do, which people will scream and holler and, you know, get their panties in a wad, is we're going to use butane power. Turn that guy down just a little bit and then just go gently on both of these from the underside, rotating back and forth to heat shrink these together. Now somebody, like I said, might get their panties in a bunch and say I should only be using a heat gun, and then if I really needed to, Milwaukee makes a very expensive and highly inefficient big M18 heat gun. Frankly, if I need to use a heat gun for stuff, I'm going to be needing to use it for a while on a couple items. And this does work. And it works really good outside where you have no access to power, or if you have to carry multiple tools up, say to the top of the trailer to do clearance lights. This is very easy and manageable to handle, moving this and other tools to the top of the trailer on a ladder when you don't have a lift. And give those a visual inspection, and they are all heat shrunk the entire way around. It's not that difficult, folks, and it looks good. It's noticeable later down the road for visual inspection, and if you take your time and a number of zip ties, and you have all of your cables properly managed, you can prevent a lot of problems down the road. So there you have it, folks. Wiring repair. I know sometimes it appears like it should be rocket science, and I can't tell you how many times, how many thousands of butt connectors in the past couple of years. So do the math. That's a lot of money on some quality butt connectors that are heat shrink used in this shop, and extra zip ties. All that stuff adds up over time. So there you have it. It's nothing that's rocket science that really should be so difficult, even though some people make it seem like it should be. It's not. It's makes me want to cuss a lot, and I do a lot at times. So anyways, like, share, subscribe, all that other, boobly jazz, and I'll have some links down below to, these are Snap-ons. There's a lot of other brands out there. I've got Kleins and Greenlees and stuff that I use at home that are also awesome, especially on the industrial side. Shop safety is just as important as firearm safety. If you screw something up, somebody could die. And if you're hauling 50,000 pounds behind you, that's a big deal. Think about it.
Destination, but it's from the shop.